Okay, so why don't we just get started? So here's the scoop. So I'm Beth Zonis, the Senior Director of Cleantech Open here in the Northeast, and welcome everybody. I just wanted to let you all know what the purpose of this meeting is. We are here to tell you a little bit about Cleantech Open, which is a national accelerator for early stage clean tech startups, and we'll explain what we mean by clean tech. We will hear from members of the Cleantech Open community, which include alumni, mentors, and also people who are part of the Northeastern community. So the idea of this meeting is to get people from Northeastern acquainted with Cleantech Open and vice versa, so that hopefully we can spread the word among within and around the Northeastern University community and encourage folks to apply to Cleantech Open and progress their early stage startups. Next slide. So here's the team. So the Cleantech Open Northeast team is myself as Senior Director, Talley, Cain. Talley, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Great to be here and great to see you all.
So that's Talley, our program manager, and our intern, our spring coordinator from Northeastern, actually, is Sophia Elmi. So Sophia, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm the spring coordinator intern. I'm on Cub from Northeastern right now. Nice to meet everyone.
Yeah, so we actually work with Northeastern co-ops every year, and Sophia, we are lucky to have Sophia this year working with us, but there's a whole group of past Northeastern co-ops. It should actually be a little club of people who've worked with us in the past. So now they're all Cleantech Open ambassadors. Next slide. So for those of you who don't know, Cleantech Open is, as I said, a national program. The Northeast region is part of an organization called NECEC, which stands for the Northeast Clean Energy Council. And I like to say that NECEC is laying the green carpet for Cleantech Open and other clean tech and clean energy companies around the region. Essentially, NECEC is making it possible for all of us to do our work from a policy and regulatory perspective and also a market development perspective. So there are a lot of benefits to being part of the community here in the Northeast. It's really a terrific place to do business if you're in our sector. Next slide. Okay, so here's the fun part. If there is anyone in this meeting who is a prospective Cleantech Open entrepreneur with a startup or the beginnings of a startup, please let us know and we will give you a minute on the agenda to tell us your story. So think about what you might say, and if you could send a message to Talley or me or Sophia or all of us, that would be really great. Just use the chat and say, I'd like to present. We want to make sure that we know who's, you can send it to everybody. Just let us know who you are. So next slide, please. Okay, so Cleantech Open is a nonprofit. We do not take equity in any of the startups that go through the program. And part of the reason why we are able to run the program is because we have some incredible sponsors. So what's fabulous is that we are able to support startups in a variety of ways with a whole lot of different kinds of sponsorships. So these organizations, you'll see the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center and NYSERDA are our premier sponsors. They are really helping us from a strategic perspective to run the program and also to support startups in their respective states, Massachusetts and New York. The Sire Foundation is a family foundation that is sponsoring us to give away 2 special prizes this year. One of them, we'll tell you a little bit more about them, but one of them is for agriculture, food, and land use. And the other one is for a company that has a solution in carbon sequestration. We also have a number of regional silver sponsors. Canada is the Canadian Consulate in New York. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority is in there. Foley Hoag is a law firm with a headquarters in Boston and also offices elsewhere around the country. Schneider Electric is an energy company, which many of you may know about, and Sunstein is a law firm that specializes in IP, and that's about patents and licensing. The regional bronze sponsors, I believe all of these are corporations. So we have AGC, which is Asahi Glass Company, Citi, which is in fact the bank, Chubb, which is an insurance company, and they offer a really cool opportunity for our startups to stress test their technology at their Global Learning Center in New Jersey, by the way. Constellation, which is an energy technology company, Novartis, which is a pharmaceutical company, and Xylem, which is a water tech company. And then below that, you see some others. You'll see, I think our friend Sam is here from Greentown. We are actually members of Greentown, and we have our offices at Greentown Labs in Somerville. And then on the right side, you'll see our in-kind sponsors, which are organizations that offer services, products, and mostly the products are software products, as well as various types of consulting services and expertise to our startups to help them along their entrepreneurship journey. Next slide, Talley. So what do we think of when we think of clean tech? Pretty much anything that has an environmental any startup that has a solution that provides an environmental benefit, we will consider. So that includes organizations in all of these areas. When we say clean tech, many of the startups have a technology that is coming out of a lab. Some of the solutions may also be in the area of services or business models. So, or perhaps some combination of a product and a service. So we are very flexible about what category you're in. Next slide, please. So what the heck is it? What do we do? I like to say that Cleantech Open is like a mini MBA. We are providing early stage startups the tools that they need in order to learn how to be an entrepreneur and to really learn about their market and what they're going to need to do in order to build their business. So what's included is training in the form of lots of events. We start with our National Academy, which will be this year, it's June 1st through 3rd. Lots of events with one-on-one coaching, but probably the best thing is what we have here in green, the mentorship. So mentorship is really invaluable. In the Northeast, we have an incredible mentor pool. I started out as a mentor for Cleantech Open in 2009, and I mentored a team every single year for 9 years before I became the director. It's a really rewarding experience for anyone who's interested in being a mentor, but it also is a great opportunity for the startups to get to meet business leaders in a wide variety of areas that are complementary to their businesses. So every team is matched typically with 4 mentors, and we're able to basically grow your startup during the period of Cleantech Open from 2 people participating to 6 people with the mentors added, and they are like an advisory board to you. Toward the end of the program, we have an investor connect, and we introduce the startups to various types of investors and potential customers. And you can also showcase and pitch for some cash prizes, which I'll tell you about in a bit. Next slide, please. And here's the schedule. So April 17th, applications are due. Make sure if you are interested in applying that you get your application in on time. The application takes some thought, so don't start it on April 17th or even April 16th for that matter. Make sure you give it some time. it will require some thought and some collaboration with your colleagues. So do take some time to think through what it is that you want to say and how you put that application together. We select the cohort in May, and we will make introductions to mentors and then match the mentors toward the end of May. As I said, the National Academy is going to span 3 days. Everything here from May, well, I should say probably from June 1st through September 27th is private just for the cohort. Some of the things in May will be including mentors as well, but mostly everything is just for the cohort. We are creating a safe space for the startups to work on their startups without worrying about, that making a mistake thing. Don't worry about making mistakes. This is a place where you're meant to test your assumptions and work through some of the hard things. We have 5 business clinics this summer. Greenhouse gas emissions reduction potential is something that we ran new in 2021. It's a way to calculate your greenhouse gas emissions reduction. And I will tell you more about that in a moment. And then September 27th, we have private judging. And then September 28th, we'll have a big shindig. And that's always really fun. That's when the top startups from the cohort will get a chance to pitch in a public forum, and we name the winners. And then the global forum, we are looking at a few different dates. The regional finals on the 28th and the 27th will probably be in person in Boston. The rest of this will be virtual. And October will be in person, most likely in San Jose toward the end of October. We're looking at holding this in conjunction with Verge, which is a green biz event. So it could be really fun to be part of a big green biz event in California too. Next slide, please. Okay, so what do the startups work on? We like to say it's like a mini MBA, as I said earlier. What the startups produce throughout the program is almost every week there's a deliverable. So they need to be ready to get some work done. It's a rigorous program. They work through all of these different things. And toward the end, they have this set of materials from the business model canvas to the pitch deck, which are materials that they can use as a starting point for moving their business to the next level. We spend a lot of time on all of these topics. There are many other topics that are in between the lines. So in addition to these deliverables, we cover how to validate your technology and how to talk to attorneys and why would you need an attorney, how to work with insurance companies, how to think through your sustainability strategy. And there's so many things, how to build and develop partnerships, how to really how to talk to investors is a big one. So lots of other things that are part of the curriculum that don't necessarily produce a direct deliverable, but it's a very rich curriculum. Next slide, please. So in 2020, we created this graphic after doing a fair amount of research, and we are very pleased to say that at the time, this was prior to the graduation of the 2020 cohort, we had 414 alumni. 68% of them were still in business. And you can see the numbers here of 279 million in terms of annual revenue and 653 million in terms of funds raised. So, and at the time they were employing 3,300 people. We are embarking on a new analysis now, so we'll see what that produces. You can also see on the left side that we had, at the time, 47 startups matched to 175 mentors. We typically have a pretty big cohort in the Northeast, and you can see behind the top, you'll see that this represents the map. So behind We Are Effective, you have Canada, Eastern Canada, I should say, and then Maine, south through Pennsylvania is our region. like I said, we are interacting with and part of the national program. So we'll have people from all over the country and probably from other countries around the world as well participating this year. And then diversity, not to slight this section, but to make sure you're aware that we are definitely very interested in increasing diversity. And we have been measuring how well we're doing in terms of the numbers of startups who have participated and where what the founders, who the founders are. So this is showing that we went from about 47% to 62% over 3 years in terms of the founders who are either women or the startups who have either a woman or a minority leader. Next slide, please. So we talk about environmental impact. This is what we've been able to measure, and this is incredible. What the startups told us last year after they went through this greenhouse gas emissions reduction potential exercise is that as a collective, 44 startups that completed the program as an aggregate are estimating that they will reduce 101 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year when they're at scale. So we're saying we're pretty much fixing the environment here with all of these startups, and really the issue is getting them some traction and helping them to grow. So that's the next step. This is only one cohort. We've been doing this since 2005. So if anybody knows how to measure actual results, we'd love to talk with you, because we'd love to do an assessment of all of our startups from the beginning. And just so you know, we have 523 alumni that have graduated since 2005. So that's a new question that we would love to be able to tackle. So anyone wants to talk to me afterwards, I'm happy to have that conversation. Next slide, please. So Cleantech Open, you want to participate, we charge a fee. It's $75 to apply. And then if you are accepted and you decide to participate, it's $1,350 per team. If you have at least 50% of you are students, then you can qualify for a $975 fee instead. We do have some deals for people from different states and also from Philadelphia. So there are a few different options for people to get reimbursed, but I will tell you that $1,350 is a steal. It's like a course fee. We estimate that the real cost is closer to $6,000 and that the value is significantly higher than that. And I'll tell you why in a moment. We have prizes for the winners. And again, we do not take equity. We have had people tell us that they have saved a significant amount of time on the trajectory of their business, which is just one way to measure the value. In fact, a couple of years ago, one of our startups said to me, Beth, we saved 2.5 years by going through your accelerator. If that is not a savings, I don't know what is, but that was a significant message. Next slide, please. So here's what it is. So what's really special about the program this year is that we have continuing focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We will build that into how do you build your team is part of that discussion. How do you build diversity, equity, inclusion into the culture of your startup from the beginning? And we have $60,000 in cash prizes, which will be divided by 6, 4 general prizes plus 2 specialty prizes: agriculture, food and land use, and carbon sequestration. So last year, you may have heard of our company that won the carbon sequestration prize is Osmosis. And shortly after completing the accelerator, they not only won as a Cleantech Open Northeast, they were Cleantech Open Northeast prize winner, but they also won the carbon sequestration prize. And then they got investment of $3 million, really in quick succession. And it was great to see that kind of thing does happen. So next slide, please. So what do we look at when we see your application? We look at market, solution, and team. And this is pretty well spelled out in the application, but looking at, is there a market for what your solution is? Is it important? Do people actually care? Is this going to sustain your business? Is the solution something that can really make a difference? Can it really solve the market need that you've identified? Can it really work? Or does it break the laws of physics? And then we look at your team. Do we think that the team can actually pull off what you're saying you're going to do? And do we think that you would be a good team to have as part of the cohort? Do we think that that mentors would like to work with you? Are you coachable? So these are some of the questions that we look at when we are evaluating your application. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we get to hear from a few of our Cleantech Open friends. So I will turn it over to Talley to run the first one. So Veer Shah, I'm going to just tell you who all these people are. So Veer Shah is a Cleantech Open alum from 2021. He is a Northeastern, I believe he's still a Northeastern student, and his company is called Nanolyx. He'll tell us a little bit about Nanolyx. He is not here today, so he recorded a little video for us. I'm just going to run through these quickly so you know who all these people are. Mark Dockser is a Cleantech Open mentor. He also was not available to join us at this precise time, and he provided a recording as well. He is a professor of practice in entrepreneurship at the McKim School of Business, and he'll tell us about his experiences as a mentor. Andy Myers is a Cleantech Open alum who runs a company called T Omega Wind, and his company is one of the 2020 Cleantech Open Northeast winners. And he is a professor at Northeastern, so he'll tell us his story. And finally, we'll hear from, these are our Cleantech Open people. We have some other folks from Northeastern as well. Cayman Somerville has been a Cleantech Open judge multiple times and is a very good friend of Cleantech Open, and she also happens to be a Northeastern alum. So I thought it would be fun to have Northeastern people who are affiliated with Cleantech Open tell us their experiences first. So I'm going to turn it over to Talley to run Veer's and Mark's videos. Oh, you need the audio, Talley.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. Let me see. I'm sorry. Let me make sure that you all can hear it.
Nanolyx. Here I am representing Nanolyx, which is a green, novel, nanotechnology-based company, which is taking on the combating antimicrobial resistance, one of the leading causes of deaths around the world, unfortunately. The reason I am here speaking to you is to share a brief note about our experience with Cleantech Open from last summer. Definitely want to start off with the sort of mentorship that they provide. And it's true mentorship. I can imagine a lot of the companies here have had certain levels of mentors before or are seeking some. So this might be one of the best ways to continue upon or just start out your journey in the mentorship space, because no matter how brilliant a mind you can be, sort of mentorship from someone who's been there, done that goes a long way. Especially from someone, we had wonderful mentors who've been serial entrepreneurs in their lives. Some of them retired now, but have been very sort of out there in terms of their entrepreneurial experiences and sort of taking companies from scratch, starting them and, selling them off for tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. So definitely a lot of insightful experience that they can share. And one of the key elements of Cleantech Open is the weekly deliverables that we go through. And they also have addressed different aspects of the company for each week. So they prepare you with the ground up. So if you're not in the entrepreneurial space, like if you're a core scientist, an engineer, like most of our founders are, we found this very valuable where we were able to tackle a lot of the basics of the company, even though we might have done some groundwork up, like having a structured format to the modules and deliverables for different aspects of the company, whether it be legal, finance, business plans, strategies, marketing options, your like sales model, reaching out to end customer and end users, a very critical component of the startup as well, where especially this program where you'll be given the opportunity to conduct a lot of customer discovery interviews and report and continue doing that throughout the program to enhance your sort of lean startup-based methodology, where you're, taking your product and sort of molding it in terms of what's required in the market and what the customer really wants. That's sort of the focus on top of the sort of differing aspects of startups that they get you started on. And one of the key elements of the weekly mentorship or mentors meeting is the fact that we were able to not just devote a good chunk of time working on the deliverables and getting the mentors' feedback, but also spend a little bit of time in the end talking about just different activities going on in the startup, which may not be directly related to the deliverables for the week. But what that did for us was get enough insight from the mentors to guide us in the right path and not get sort of stuck at a different, avenue of like, oh, we just can't move forward because X, Y, and Z. So a lot of those issues were addressed by the mentors, and they don't need to be doing like a boatload of activities or deliverables for you. It's not that. It's more about what they can share, the sort of experience they bring, and that's the most valuable part of the program. And again, if you're on the fence, definitely consider, because there is very little downside to doing this program. The sort of experience and insights and the feedback that you get from the mentors is second to none. I can definitely say that I've been part of a couple of different programs before in the mentorship space, and the sort of input and the sort of care that the mentors put in is definitely top notch, and would definitely recommend to take a look into Cleantech, because it will open up a lot of doors, especially I forgot to mention mentor directory. So even if you assign mentors based on your preferences in terms of your Cleantech or sort of category that you fit in, you'll have access to different mentors with different skill sets and different expertise, and you'll be able to set up one-on-one meetings with them throughout the semester or throughout the sort of program. And it doesn't have to be like a weekly thing with like the outside mentors, but even if a meeting or two in the span of the program will really help you out, then Cleantech and Beth and others are very open to doing so and helping you get to your goals. They're not really limiting you to just doing Cleantech deliverables and oh, you're done. Even post beyond the program, you have the opportunity, depending on the part of your mentors and the relationship you shared throughout the program, you could continue having those services, or even have equity-based business advising from your mentors if you really liked and thought they would bring more value in the long term as well. So a lot of upsides and a lot of opportunities to get involved and even get to know other co-founders in the space in the same area. That's also invaluable in terms of sort of information you can share and the levels of access and resources you can utilize just based on knowing a couple of folks in the Cleantech space. So yeah, definitely recommend, and let's have some more Northeastern representation in the space.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Veer. He wasn't here, but that was helpful. So if anybody knows Veer or you want to reach out to Veer, do let me know and we can put you in touch. Talley, do you want to run the next one?
Hi.
Hi, folks. My name is Mark Dockser. I am an entrepreneur and now professor of practice at Northeastern University in the Entrepreneurship and Innovation group. I have been a mentor for several years now. I mentor at the Northeastern Venture Mentoring Network, at the MIT Venture Mentoring Service, and also here at the Cleantech Open. And Beth asked if I would say a couple of words about my experience as a mentor. So with Cleantech, I've mentored a couple of teams over the last few years. It's been a really exciting and rewarding experience. A lot of the activities that I would engage in are acting as a sounding board for ideas and activity, making introductions to various people. And one team that I worked with actually made the Global Forum back in 2019. And after the forum, I joined the advisory board to help the company with its growth plans going from that. So mentoring is a great process, both for the mentors and the mentees. For the mentors, it's a chance to meet and work with some great folks who have very similar interests and different expertise. And I've kept my relationships with a number of those mentees who I've seen over the years. It's really been very enjoyable. For the mentees, it's a chance to learn to analyze, to vet ideas, to do some problem solving, to work on presentations. Did I say to work on presentations? To work on presentations and to get launched, to get to market, to find some of the right partners and to figure out how to take things forward. It's been a really great experience. I wish that I could join you folks today, but alas, I'm going to be teaching. So have a great event and look forward to seeing many of you soon. Take care. Bye.
Okay, so Mark's been a mentor for several years, and if anybody knows him at the business school there, you can stop by and say hello. And then we have a live person. I believe that Andy Myers is on. So we can probably stop sharing the presentation and let Andy tell his story. Andy, are you here?
I am here. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was totally caught my eye when I saw that the Cleantech Open was doing a Northeastern specific event. So I'm a professor of civil and environmental engineering. My office is on the 4th floor of Snell. So if anyone wants to ask me more questions about my experience, feel free to stop by. My entire research career, I've been at Northeastern for 10 years now. My entire research career has focused on climate issues. I'm totally motivated by climate issues in all that I'm doing professionally. And that has landed me on wind energy as an area of specialty for my research program. So most of my career has been looking at academic issues, but recently I started to think a little broader and started to think about some ideas that could be commercialized. So a colleague and I, I think it was 2018, came up with a novel concept for a floating wind turbine. It's a very big idea. It's going to take a lot of funding and development to demonstrate this technology, but it could have a huge impact. And so we started to think about commercialization. That led us to apply to join the Cleantech Open and I guess their first pandemic cohort, the 2020 cohort. And I had a fabulous experience. I think if I were to highlight a few aspects of why I found the experience to be so rewarding, first, as the others have mentioned, the mentors you're assigned to are carefully cultivated to your specific needs, and they each have a kind of carefully determined role that really creates a great breadth of experience and diversity of viewpoints. So we had weekly meetings with them, and it provided a lot of expertise where we needed it. especially for me and my team, which was mostly technical. So this kind of mini MBA, as Beth describes it, was vital for us because all of our backgrounds were in engineering. And so getting some commercialization experience was really important as we write up grants, as we start to pitch our idea around. I also found that the overall organization of the program is fabulous. The curriculum and the deliverables provide a great framework, and especially for folks who are new to business type activities and commercialization initiatives. It's a great network, so made a bunch of great connections in my cohort through my mentors. And Beth still regularly sends me possible connections that could help us along the way, and several over the last year I've followed up on, and it's been helpful. And then the kind of overall organization and structure gives you regular and organized feedback that I found to be a huge help in improving my pitching materials and my delivery. So, we actually got the go-to market strategy that we conceived of as part of the Cleantech Open in 2020 is actually the one that we are now fleshing out and including in our pitch deck that we're pitching to investors this spring. So yeah, like I said, my office is on the 4th floor of Snell, and I'd be happy to meet with anyone who has questions about the program. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. And I'm glad to hear that the information that I sent you is helpful. I appreciate that. So good luck, and keep us posted on your progress. We love to see what everybody's doing after Cleantech Open. So next up is our dear friend, Cayman Somerville. So Cayman, do you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Beth. And hello, everyone. My name is Cayman. As Beth said, I'm a Northeastern alum. I graduated in 2016 with an environmental science degree, and I've been proud to stay connected to the Northeastern science and entrepreneurial communities ever since. Getting involved as a mentor or advisor in a number of programs at Northeastern, and I'm always just happy to give back to young professionals who are really interested in entrepreneurship and the clean tech industry in general. And I do want to do a quick shout out for the Northeastern co-op program, because I really credit that for my career today, how I ended up in the climate tech sector. I graduated with 2 years of experience in the sector, and I think that was really valuable to helping advance my career. I'm also so proud to get involved with Cleantech Open every year as a judge. This will be my 5th year getting involved as a judge. And I love to get to connect with and learn from the startups and see the different types of companies that are going through the program every year. And every year I feel like the cohort gets bigger and better than ever. So I highly recommend getting involved if you're a prospective startup, or if you're interested in mentorship or being a judge or on the fence. It's just really a fantastic organization. And I would say that my reason for getting involved is very similar for why I love to give back to Northeastern. I love to give back to entrepreneurs. I love working with passionate people, and Beth and Talley and the whole Cleantech Open Northeast team is just so passionate about their work and really helping to commercialize the technologies that are a part of their community. Quick intro about my background. I'm the operations associate at Azolla Ventures. It's an investment firm. It's the successor fund to the Prime Impact Fund, which was founded by the nonprofit Prime Coalition. So we invest in early stage technology companies with the potential for gigaton scale climate impact. And our predecessor fund, the Prime Impact Fund, has a 16 company portfolio, and actually 2 of those ventures have participated in Cleantech Open. Lilac Solutions, it's a mining services company that's enabling lithium extraction for electric vehicles. They're in a 2017 cohort. Noon Energy is a startup developing an ultra low cost battery for long duration energy storage, and they participated in 2020. So I recently joined the Azolla team, but if we have an incredible investment team, and if you're ever just interested in learning more about our portfolio, or if you're a startup and want to pitch them, please feel free to reach out. And finally, I just want to share that I've been a part of the clean tech ecosystem for more than 7 years, and the work that Northeastern is doing to help empower the entrepreneurial community is really amazing and exciting to see that develop over the years. But when entrepreneurs are ready to spin out of the university, they need a lot of support to get over those early challenges in the valley of death. And it's organizations like Cleantech Open that help really fill those gaps. And Cleantech Open has worked so hard to enhance their mentorship program and customize workshops to the needs of their community. And once these startups are graduating, they sometimes need a home, or sometimes even during. So it's where places like Greentown Labs come in, which I was also proud to work at for more than 5 years before joining Azolla. And Beth introduced them earlier on in the program. And then for those entrepreneurs that are here tonight, highly encourage you to do that pitch. I know it seems a little scary. It's definitely a really good use of your time and good practice session. And I do want to share one piece of advice for all of you. Really never underestimate the business milestones. A lot of scientists and inventors often focus on the technology development, but this is really irrelevant if you haven't properly validated your market. So it's absolutely crucial that you treat these technical and business milestones equally, and that you build that team or cultivate a team that's going to be able to help work on both of those goals at the same time. So that's all I had to say tonight. Really glad to be here. Thank you again, Beth, for inviting me.
Thank you, Cayman. Wise words from all of our speakers. Really appreciate that. I'm going to turn it over to actually, Talley, if you can put up our next slide. We have 4 Northeastern people who are currently at Northeastern, who run different programs at Northeastern. I believe Wendy is not available, but Laurie will speak on her behalf. So Laurie Bishop, who's with the Alumni Relations, will talk about her work. Cody Kennedy will talk about New Impact, and Katie Hemphill will talk about the venture program and the talent network, and Wendy is with the venture mentoring, and I guess Laurie will speak to that a little bit too. So that's our group. I think we should start with Laurie, and so Laurie, you're here, I believe.
I am. I'm right here.
Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you. Thank you so much for putting this together. We're really excited about the partnerships that we have with our external partners to Northeastern to help our entrepreneurs move forward in the commercialization efforts. And so my role right now is in alumni relations, and I consider myself like a chief connection officer, charged with really connecting our alumni to the resources within the university and external, right? All of our knowledge, is brought forward to help them build their businesses. But we do help, and I do help, our team helps even not just alumni, but students and faculty and staff members, and connecting them with resources. And on the same time, supporting those resources, whether it's hosting events, bringing in speakers, and so on, and however we can be helpful. I'm going to leave what Wendy does. Maybe Katie can talk to that, because she was running the Venture Mentoring Network and now has moved into her new role. And so she could probably really summarize both what she's doing now and what the Venture Mentoring Network does more succinctly and eloquently, I think. And so we at Northeastern, before I had this role, I was immersed into running one of our programs too, one of our mentoring programs. So the Health Sciences Entrepreneurs Program. And I did that for 2 years. And that was the first role that I had at Northeastern. So we support health and life science ventures specifically. So very niche organization that's been around for about 16 years now. So it was really a great foothold for me to understand what the needs are for entrepreneurs at Northeastern, but also specifically health and life sciences, and bring that forward in my new role. We have a number of clubs that are supporting entrepreneurs. And most of them are operating under the umbrella, in a coalition under an umbrella called Mosaic. But we have other organizations that are staff-led and faculty-led, and some are focused on education, others engagement, others to accelerate and then launch. And Katie often talks about our ecosystem. She's an expert at that as well, and has been very immersed in it for several years now. On my team, Cesar Hernandez is here with us. And so he's our program assistant, helping what we do here at Alumni Relations, making those connections and everything. happen. And we have lofty goals, and one of them too is going out and bringing programming throughout the globe. The Northeastern is a global university, and we feel that more so now than ever. So we'll be going out on the road, meeting with our entrepreneurs and having networking sessions and mini markets to showcase what our alumni and students, faculty, staff are doing in terms of building businesses. So we're really excited about that. And with that said, I would just want to open up. Does anyone have any questions about what I do? Or I just want to add one more thing is I worked with Veer, Shah. I just met Mark recently in a meeting and it's very great to meet Andy, Andrew. I'll be definitely stopping on the 4th floor of Snell, seeing I am a College of Engineering grad from Northeastern. And so I often walk through Snell, so now I have another place to stop. So anyway, I want to thank you again for putting this together. We look forward to funneling our ventures that are in clean tech your way as they come forward from whether it's deep science spinouts, Northeastern IP, or students, alumni, staff, as we work with them in the different programs.
Great. Thank you very much, Laurie. That's really helpful. Can we turn it right over to Cody?
Yeah, hi everyone. I want to echo what Laurie said and thank you for putting this all together. It's awesome to see the Northeastern and clean tech community come together. But yeah, I'm here to kind of explain or just to tell you guys about NU Impact, which I've been a part of for a year and a half now. So we're one of the only undergraduate-led impact investing funds in the country, and we've been doing it since 2016. So far, we've invested $75,000 in 3 companies into the Boston community, and we hopefully have a 4th on the way. And we have created an impact investing thesis consisting of 3 main aspects. The first of which is what we pride ourselves on the most, is that it's an investment into a marginalized and underserved community. And that this impact is kind of our second pillar, is based in Boston, because we really want to give back to the community that we are in here at Northeastern. And then the last pillar is that it's a sustainable company, so we can be an evergreen fund, and then which will lead to more impact in the future because we'll be investing that money again. So we invest across 5 verticals, and one of which is energy and environment, which is why we're here today, to learn more about kind of the clean tech community, because we love offering flexible capital to clean tech companies, and we love kind of the portfolio companies that we do get that are portfolio companies, kind of giving them to Cleantech Open and like the other kind of accelerators in the area that we've made a connection with, which is awesome. So a lot of you guys here today are probably really early stage companies, which is completely fine. You guys don't have to be profitable yet. Just like to show a little traction is like good enough on our end. And we really prioritize impact over ROI. And we're supported by a team of really cool advisors, and we're connected with a bunch of accelerators like Cleantech Open in the Boston area to help us with deal flow. And we take pride in connecting our portfolio companies with these accelerators and with the Northeastern community. Like what Laurie was saying with Mosaic, it's such a great kind of community of clubs there, and connecting them to kind of all those resources is great. And we operate on a semesterly basis. So we source January through March, and then September through November. We go through a deep due diligence process. And then by the end of the semester, we're voting on what company to have our investment in. So if that sounds appealing to you, and like getting the opportunity at flexible capital sounds something like that's cool, you can let me know if you're interested, and I'll drop both my email and the NU Impact email in the chat. And if you guys have any questions right now, you can also just let them fly.
That's great, Cody. So anybody who is affiliated with Northeastern would be eligible?
Even if you're not, like we are, like it's not Northeastern focused. Like we have all 3 of our portfolio companies don't have any connection to Northeastern. Oh. But they just have to have impact in Boston. And like any companies that, have impact in Boston, and like obviously a lot of clean tech companies, like the East Bay, across the bay in Boston, is a place that's really affected kind of by the airport and the air pollution there. And like, so anything that kind of helps with that, or with waste, a lot of companies are going to have impact that's outside of Boston as well, which is completely fine. That's all the better. But we just want to see some impact that touches Boston.
Great. We'll talk.
Super cool.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it right over to Katie Hemphill to tell your story.
Sure. Thanks so much, Beth. Great to meet you. Great to be here. Thanks so much for hosting this event today. My name is Katie Hemphill, and I'm Director of Technology, Ventures, and Talent Network at Northeastern University. This is through the Center for Research Innovation in particular. Prior to joining the Center for Research Innovation, I managed the McCarthy's Venture Mentoring Network out of McKim School of Business under the Center for Entrepreneurship Education. And so I am happy to field any questions about Northeastern's entrepreneurship ecosystem overall today. I think that the easiest way to kind of share everything it is we have ongoing, Beth, for all startups and clean tech startups included, would be through a slide quickly. Is it possible to share my screen? I guess, Talley, it's probably a question for you.
It is. Go ahead.
Should be able to.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So as Laurie shared earlier, just let me know, are you able to see my screen clearly?
Yes.
Okay, so at Northeastern, we have kind of an entrepreneurial ecosystem path that folks generally navigate at their own pace as best fits their business needs and their venture stage. So we have different groups that help engage and educate folks about entrepreneurship and those individuals interested in maybe entrepreneurship outside of the classroom. This is staff, faculty, alums, and students all included. And then on the incubate launch side, we do have other groups really focused on helping accelerate the incubation of companies or startup ventures. So here on this next slide, you'll see, as Laurie said, there are different staff and faculty-led initiatives and different student-led initiatives that fall under this umbrella called Mosaic that assist in these two areas, right? So there are groups that are solely focused on helping with that education piece, on helping folks kind of get their feet wet and learn more about entrepreneurship and what an entrepreneurial path may look like through different speaker series, workshops, hackathons, demo days, partnering with external orgs such as Cleantech to kind of talk to what it takes to build a business, right? So these are folks that are less focused on servicing startups and more focused on getting folks excited about entrepreneurship, again, outside of the classroom or outside of their day-to-day role at Northeastern as a staff or faculty member. Then on the accelerating side of things, if you do choose to start a company, we have a variety of different organizations that aid with servicing and supporting startups, spin-outs, community businesses as they get going either at Northeastern and or around Northeastern. So what I wanted to do was provide a very, very high level snapshot of all that's happening at Northeastern as it relates to supporting spin-out startups and community businesses. As I said, Northeastern is industry agnostic, so we support every kind of startup, and that's specifically what the McCarthy's Venture Mentoring Network does as a venture mentoring group on campus. This is a group of serial entrepreneurs who are willing to give back time and talent to first-time founders in any industry, whereas the health sciences entrepreneurs that Laurie managed previously in her role at Northeastern is very, very focused on that health life science piece. But as you see, there are a variety of different services available through Northeastern to really support that business build and hopefully successful launch process for our startups, our spinouts, and our community businesses who are involved. I am happy to deep dive into any of these organizations for any of the folks on the call today who are interested in learning more. Please do feel free to reach out to myself. Laurie is very versed in this ecosystem as well, as you know, so you're welcome to reach out to her. And even Cody, it's fabulous to meet you today. He spoke to referring organizations that they interface with to the rest of the ecosystem. So know that, Northeastern staff and faculty members involved and entrenched in this entrepreneurship ecosystem are happy to talk about it anytime. And we hope that slides such as these help provide kind of the scope of Northeastern's entrepreneurship ecosystem and the services involved in that scope. And as I said, happy to chat more at any time about those in particular. In my role now, as Director of Tech Ventures and Talent Network, I specifically help support mainly faculty, PhD, and postdoc spinouts that are spinning out of labs at Northeastern. And we do have a handful such as Andy's who are very focused on that clean tech area. So we're very excited to partner with clean tech and send folks to the accelerator who can use this specific kind of support, because it does take a village to start any kind of company. And you're a fantastic addition to our village of external resources that we refer to on a regular basis. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Katie. This is really helpful. Obviously, there's a ton of resources at Northeastern, and we want to make sure that everybody in all those different groups is aware of Cleantech Open, so we can partner with them and help the startups move along their journey. So I'm going to just, I guess we don't need to stop sharing any slides. I think we should just take a pause. So if anyone has any questions for anybody, I think we can open it up, and we can do this in a couple of ways. So if you want to put a question in the chat, that's fine. If you want to raise your hand, that's fine. So either way is fine with us. If you want, we want to just take a few minutes to answer any questions for any of the people who spoke today, including the people who aren't here. We'll answer questions on their behalf somehow. Or anybody want to say something that didn't get said before? All questions are answered already. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we save any, if anything comes up, feel free to raise it and we can come back to Q&A. What I think we should do next, I believe we have somebody who might want to pitch. So Talley, do you want to lead that part?
Sure, we had a request to pitch by Michelle. If you would like to do your minute pitch, we would love to hear it.
Thank you. I just unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I am Michelle Guiney from Rosendale, Massachusetts. My company is called G-Force Waste Sorters, and it is a market disruptor to the waste industry. It's an innovative, immediate solution for current critical waste crises. Every multinational corporation, the consumer goods companies, they're tasked with and challenged by recovering post-consumer waste for its supply chain in order to manufacture new goods. And my startup recovers those high-value post-consumer recyclables from trash at major sports and entertainment venues by manual sortation. Some have asked why venue trash. That's a concentration because 40 to 50% is recyclable and 20 to 30% is compostable. And so to exponentially increase the volume of trash sorted, I designed a mobile mechanical waste sorting system, and we'll be able to divert up to 80% from landfill or incineration of the venue trash. For context, one venue with a seating capacity of 40,000 generates about 1,200 tons of trash annually. And with the aid of the innovative yet proven technology, that mobile piece, 600 tons of recyclables plus 360 tons of compostables will be recovered, avoiding emissions of 2,300 metric tons of carbon dioxide. It's an unprecedented environmental benefit for just one venue. And as you know, you can just look around to see all of the venues, even at Northeastern. When you look at any large area of events and entertainment that generates a lot of material in a very short period of time, this is the niche. Thank you.
Wow, that sounds really interesting, Michelle, and I look forward to hearing more about that. I also want to know, is there anybody else here who would like to speak? Okay, Katie has a comment or question. Go ahead, Katie.
I was just clapping for Michelle.
Oh,
I thought, yes, that wasn't a hand. That was the emoji.
Sorry,
the emoji clap.
mistake.
No, Michelle, great job. I mean, very, very interesting. You know what it is you have going on, and you know, appreciate your work in this area. This is exciting.
Super cool. So I would like to invite everybody who's here and folks who weren't able to be here to come to our in-person event, which is going to be the only in-person kickoff. So it'll be similar to this, but in person and with a lot of people. It will be on March 22nd at 5 p.m. at Greentown Labs. And I'm going to put the invitation for March 22nd right here in the chat. This is going to be super fun. If you are interested in meeting other folks from our ecosystem, we have a wonderful community, and I think it'll be a fabulous opportunity to get to know folks, especially in the Boston area, And for Michelle and anybody else who didn't get to pitch today, that is a fabulous opportunity to pitch because there's actually a real live stage. And what we will do is put you on stage. You get 1 minute. And in the past, before COVID, when we ran lots of in-person events, we would have quite a few people line up and get a chance to pitch. So it's really fun. And a lot of people are there, and it's a great opportunity to have people see what are you working on, and then they see you at the end of the program and they say, wow, you've come a long way. That's the transformation part. So Talley, do you want to show the last few slides, or is there anything else that we should be covering?
I can show it. Yep, there's a couple links that would be helpful for folks to have.
Okay, terrific. So thank you. So wanted to make sure that everybody is aware we have a fabulous, really in-depth media kit that Talley has helped to compile this year. You can find it at bit.ly/CTOMK2022. That stands for Cleantech Open Media Kit 2022. It has a full set of brochures, event information, prize information, things to share online. So there are social media blurbs and a lot of other things. So please do take a look at this media kit. Feel free to share that with others in the community. So I know, Katie, you mentioned a lot of different groups who were not able to participate today. It would be great to just make sure that everybody knows how to find us and where to find us. And Sophia put that link in the chat as well. So thank you, Sophia. So you can also follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. We are very active on both. Here's our Twitter is, there's actually 3 different Twitters. So Cleantech Open Northeast, Cleantech Open, which is the national program, and NECEC, which is our employer essentially in the Northeast, the Northeast Clean Energy Council. Next slide, please. So anybody who has an early stage clean tech startup, and you saw that we define this rather broadly as to anything that has a potential benefit to the environment, we will consider. Please apply. The application deadline is April 17th. Make sure to start your application soon because it does take a while to think through it. And to answer some questions that are coming through, we are recording and we will share this with folks. And I think this will be a great video recording to share with folks from across Northeastern. I think that may be our last slide. Yeah, so that's it. If we want, we can stick around for some networking. Maybe we can have a show of hands if anybody wants to have some networking groups, because we can stop the recording and do that if you'd like. Do we stop the recording?